Hello, my name is Nils, Cyrils Brettspiele, and today, in a nutshell, was Quantum from FunForge and Passport game studios here in North America. Let's take a quick look about the component and the rules. What you get for each player is you get 7 dice, very big chunky dice. You get quantum cubes, 7 each. You get a huge command cardboard, very thick cardboard reference sheet and command sheet where you can do everything what you want. You have planet tiles and you have cards. These are one-time cards, gambit cards, and these are so-called command cards with a white border and the black border here, and these are permanent effects. You also have an additional 2 dice, a white one and a black one, and an attacker and defender die. That's what in the box for up to 4 players in green, yellow, red and blue. For setup purposes, there is a sheet in it, a sector map sheet in the rules, and you can pick up from these advanced rules a map here. You can see the 7, the 8 and the 9 in the middle. Cardboards, these are the planets numbered by 7, 8, 9 or sometimes 10. Then a name and how many cubes per player. These cubes are the quantum cubes. That are these tiny little things. They are stored in here, and as you can see there are right now 5 in it. 5 because 1 is your starting planet, and if I'm flipping back to this page I will show you the starting planets are here indicated, the 9s with a black background. So each player picked a starting planet, red here, blue here and green here, and you get the rest of your cubes on your command sheet. The command sheet, the command cardboard, is a really thick cardboard. By the way, and the next one what you did is you place a 1 here and a 1 here. This is a dominance tracker and this is a research tracker. Once you reach a 6 on this die or on that die, some effects will happen. The next thing what you're doing is taking 2 of your dice and placing them to the side. These are additional ships. These dice are ships. You roll the dice, and once you can get a mulligan, so you can re-roll once all of them or none. So and then you place these adjacent to your first starting planet, or let's say it like it is in the rules, it is in orbital positions. You may see that there are some spaces here with a squared circle around. These are orbital positions around this planet, and other spaces without these circles here that are also spaces in the surrounding of a planet, but it's not an orbital position. 2 very interesting and important things to know in this game is this die is not adjacent to the red die, but it's in a surrounding position. A surrounding position consists of all the surrounding 8 areas. However, this is a next to position. It's only this or that is a next to position, and this is a surrounding position. Whenever it comes to a planet, this is the next to position is also an orbital position. Once each player has laid out their ships here, these representing ships, this dice here, you are in turn order taking your turn. One very good thing on this game is that all the rules you need to know are on this command sheet here. So on your turn you take up to 3 actions. Take any 3 actions from phase 1. These 5 different actions you can take are either movement. Let's talk about movement. Movement is determined by the number of a die. Each die or each ship on the board has a specific action, and on top of that a specific name. A 1, for an example, is a battle station, then a 2 is a flagship, and a 3 is a destroyer. A 4 is a frigate, then you have the interceptor, and you have the scout. These are the names of the ships. It's not really super important to know the names. However, they determine the movement. If you have a 6, you can move up to 6 spaces, up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, for an example. You could also get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you prefer. However, you can never go diagonally, because this is not a legal move. Each single ship has a special ability. You can use this special ability once each turn. Let's go briefly over the special abilities. A 6 is a scout. You can re-roll it before or after movement. A 5, breaking the rule of movement. You can move diagonally with this ship here. So 1 and 2. An attack is always coming from an empty space into an occupied space, and we talk about combat in a second. A 4 has also a very interesting special ability. Before or after movement, you can switch this 4 into a 3 or into a 5, whatever you prefer. Number 3 has also a very interesting ability. You can swap a position, a warp it's called, with your own colored die. So this can go here and this can go here. Very powerful maneuver. Die number 2 is a transporter action, which means you can pick up a ship from around you, put it on top of, then move the 2 spaces, 1, 2, and load it up again in the surrounding area. This used his action, his move action. You have only 1 move action per ship each turn, but this not. And 1 is the last one. It's a battle station. If the battle station is standing here, you can use a free attack, for an example, against this. This is not action. This is a free action coming from the dice value of a 1. Speaking of a battle, we are going into a battle in a second, but all these free actions are indicated here on the sheet. So a strike, a transport, a warp, and so on and so forth. Each single die has described their own free actions. Again, this is a free action and not counted as one of your 3 actions. Let's talk about a battle. First of all, the attacker rolls a die, adds the value to his die, so 1 plus a 2 is a 3. Then the defender is rolling a die, and a 6 plus a 6. In a battle, whoever has the lowest number wins the battle. In this case, I battled this guy here and killed that 6. The 6 goes immediately to the junkyard here, and can come back into the game later. Whenever a destroyed ship goes in here, you re-roll it and place it in here. Green can now move into it or can stay here, whatever you prefer. Let's assume green won against blue, and blue's ship is out. So then you get, as a reward for winning a battle, a +1 on this dominance track here, and blue would lose it, but the 1 is the lowest number possible. That was a free action, and now I can take my real action, 1 action, to move into this here and battle again. I have again a 3, and he is again out. He would roll his die and place it here, and now I could move in there. That would be just 1 action, because the first action was a free action, and now I would get another dominance here. As you can see, the lower the number, it's better for the battle, but you sacrifice movement for it. The higher the number, it's a huge advantage for movement, and you can move around the whole board, but you're super weak in a battle. So the first possible action is moving or attacking, as you saw before. Another possible action is deploying one of your ships here for 1 action in an orbital position surrounding one of your own planets. Another action you can do is always on your turn for spending 1 action is reconfigure your ship. That means you re-roll that die. When you would re-roll this die back to his original number, which was a 4, then you can re-roll it until you hit a different number. That is option 3 for different action. The last two options you have is the option by increasing your research die by 1 for each single point you're spending, and the last action is technically a double action. Whenever you have dice surrounding a planet where you don't have one of your cubes on it, in this case only green has cubes on it and blue is surrounding this planet, and you're matching exactly 9 points with your dice here. It could be 2, 3 or even 4 dice having exactly 9 pips on it. So in this case 2 dice having exactly 9 pips. I can use 2 of my 3 actions to bring a quantum cube here onto this planet. Whoever gets rid of his quantum cubes first win the game. So that is exactly what you want. Get rid of your quantum cubes. And there are only 2 ways to place quantum cubes. One way is by making this action here, by placing a quantum cube by surrounding orbital dice. The other one is whenever you reach a 6 on a dominance track here, you reduce a 6 back to a 1 and you place one of your quantum cubes on a planet where you have not a quantum cube before, because you only can have 1 quantum cube on a single planet. Just as a short recap, you can have up to 3 actions. The placing your quantum cube is a double action, and you can add for each single die a free action. Each single die can take up to 1 free action. You can take the actions multiple times except for the move and attack phase. So the move and attack action you can only once per ship. If you were able to place a cube during your turn, or even more, then you can, for each single colony or each single quantum cube you drop down on a planet, take a card. Either a black card here, which is a one-shot card, or a white card, which is a permanent benefit. Let's take a look to all these cards, not all of them, but a couple of them. Expansion: simply take one of your ships from your reserve, roll it and bring it here into the scrapyard. For further turns you have an additional ship. Momentum, for an example, is also a very interesting move. So you can take this one and have another turn with 2 additional actions, which mean if you surround a different planet where you don't have a cube on it, why not placing another cube and taking another card. Aggression, take a look at that. Immediately add 2 to your dominance track. If you have, for an example, 4 on your dominance track here and you take it, you drop down up, you go up to 6, drop down another quantum cube here, for an example, go back to 1 and take another action. These permanent effects are a little bit weaker, but they are permanent, so they stay until the end of the game. This is a peaceful move. Each turn you get 1 extra move action for free, so you can take 1 move action without spending an action point. These permanent effects go into your permanent effect slots and you only have up to 3. Cruel, for an example, is force opponent to reroll. When you attack or defend, you can choose to have your opponent reroll once. Very, very powerful. And also this one is good. This is a free deployment action. All of these could happen in these cards. Again, whoever come into the place and places his last quantum cube on a planet as a first player wins the game immediately. Like always in a nutshell edition, let's talk about my personal experiences and my personal feelings about this game. So first of all, what I really like on it, and that is what I really like, is these dice. If you have a 2 on it, like here, it is a very, very strong ship, but it's very slow. And this is a very clever use of dice, because usually either high numbers or low numbers are good. So when you roll a die like this here, and that is a bad example because that's a dominance die here. When you roll a die and you roll a 2, and in most games, you know, oh, damn, a 2. What a bad roll. But in this game, no, it's not. This is a very good fighter. This is a very strong ship, but it's very slow. You should bring it into an area where you're very close to other dice till you can have fast combat. You could, for an example, deploy this ship here right now with 1 action and then going for another action, 1 and 2 attacking this ship. Another thing I really like on this game is that you would be encouraged by the game to attack. 2 reasons for it. First of all, on a tie, so let's assume the attacker is rolling a 5 here and you have a total of 7. And then the defender is rolling a 4 and has also a 7. Attacker wins ties. So you will be encouraged to attack. On top of that, you get dominance for it, and when you ever reach the achievement to unlock the 6 on the dominance track, which is not super easy, but it's possible, then you get a free drop of your cube anywhere on the board, which is a huge advantage. So you will be encouraged over the course of the game to attack and not hiding like a little coward in some other games because, is it risky, is it not risky? And a third thing on combat is if you lose, for an example, like in this example, you roll a 6 and your defender roll a 1, so you have 8 to 4, so you lose. But you lose nothing. You still stay there, so you have no risk in losing your ship. Only the defender can lose his ship. So I really like the multiple ways of using the numbers on the die and the multiple ways of encouraging attacking and benefiting the aggression from the player. Another very interesting thing on that game is that you only are limited to 3 actions. That's fine. That gives you enough actions and enough things to do on your turn, but it's not overwhelming for you. The actions are all indicated here on your command sheet, so it's easy to recap what you can do. But on top of that, you have this 3 actions, and you can do that before or after your turn, or even in between. The only exception for that is you cannot use the 6 here, 1, 2, 3, and before you attack, change it. A 6 you can reroll. Let's say you have a reroll to a 1 and then attack. That's not allowed. However, you could go up with a 6 here, then take a second action and accidentally rolling a 1. That would be 1 action to move, a second action to reroll, but only if you get the chance to have a 1, and then using the free action, because you haven't used it before, to attack with a 1. Another option could be that if this is here a 1 and this is a 3, for an example, you could make 1, 2, 3 movement with your 3 here. Then you can use the warp action, which is trading these. He has already used his special action. He has not used his special action, so he could attack with his special action and later on attack this one as well with his movement. You see, there's a lot of depth in it, in a lot of strategic decisions you can make on your turn, but it's not overwhelming because you have only 3 actions. You are basically limited to 3 ships on the board, except for you get this additional card. So that is a total of 6, sometimes maybe more when you take a special card actions, but you're usually limited to 6 actions, and that's not overwhelming. Let's go over to my personal experiences with the game. So when I got this game and I asked for, hey, who wants to playtest this game with me, it was very easy to find player who wanted to play that game with me. First of all, most of my gaming guys like space games, so space is always a good theme in a game for finding playtesters for me. And then I said, oh, it's very easy to teach, very easy to learn, and all you need is written on this command sheet here, so you can jump into it in 10 minutes. That's a plus. That's a really good plus for a playtesting group and to find gamers who wants to play that game with you. And playing time of under an hour is also a super plus. Okay, that depends a little bit on the spread out planets you pick, but if you pick the starting planet, it's under an hour. However, when it comes to a battle, it's a simply die roll. You can manipulate the dice a little bit with these cards, but that's at the end of the day, if you as an attacker roll a 1, you know exactly, okay, I lost. If, for an example, the defender rolled 3 times in a row a 6, which happens sometimes, and he loses all of his ships in one round, okay, he can bring back next round all of his ships using 3 different deploy actions, but then he wasted and lost a full turn. So dice rolling, especially in combat, has a huge impact on the game. So therefore there's a lot of luck involved when it comes down to fighting. However, you don't have to fight over the course of the game. You can simply surround these planets using and manipulating your dice as you wish. So right now you have a 9, but keep in mind 4 means you can rotate it down to a 3 as a free action. Now you have 8, and then you can drop down a cube on this planet like this here. So there's a lot of going on in the game, but it's not too deep. That's what I really like, but what I don't like, it comes down sometimes to dice rolling. On top of that, and this is also a little bit of a negative, is whenever you are in the position of having just 1 cube left, like in a lot of other games as well, but in this specific game it could happen that this player has only 1 left, the others have a lot of other quantum cubes left. So whenever he's coming very near to surrounding a planet, everybody is attacking him and just stopping him from winning and not making their own progress on winning the game. So they just attack him to stop him from winning. This could happen in the game as well. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, for a game with a space theme, even if the theme is not super strong in the game, but that's not really important, for a space game for under an hour, easy to learn, easy to teach, easy to play, and good components, and the quality of the components overall is really good. So I would say it's a good game. You can sacrifice a little bit of mechanics wise and planning with dice rolling and having a decent amount of luck involved for a game of a playing time of 1 hour. If this would be a game of 5 hours like some other space opera games, then I would say, oh, that's too much luck involved. But this is a game of an hour and more or less a gateway game instead of a real heavy Euro game. So therefore the luck is probably slightly a little bit too much, but still acceptable. I have to say I really enjoyed most of my playtestings. Some of them were not outstanding. I wouldn't call that game an outstanding game, but I would call that a decent game, and I really like and appreciate 3 things in the game. Easy to learn, easy to play, the multiple use of dice. I really like that. Even if you have a low number, it's not bad because you have a lot of battle strength, but a high number gives you a lot of movement, but a low battle strength. I really like that. And the third one is the free actions. I really like the free actions as well. So overall, I would say Quantum is a game you definitely should check out if you like space games and if you are not aware of having a little bit of luck involved in dice rolling and battling during a game. That was another In a Nutshell edition with Cyrils Brettspiele. My name is Nils, and you should definitely check out some of my other videos and Quantum if you like space games. So far, see you next time. Bye bye.